let's just have a nice casual conversation and do a formal introduction. My name is Dave Martin, Kilo 5 Yankee Foxtrot Oscar. I was first licensed in last millennia. My dad was a ham, and that's how I got into it. I've always been interested in EMCOMM. Spent some time in the Mars program, and I'm in the Sheriff's program. I'm in state races. I'm in city races, and I'm also, as you carry on the discussion, I'm president of the Cowtown Club and chairman of this operation for this year. So I wear many hats, but EMCOMM has always been a key part of my interest. And I thought, we've got a lot of hams in our club who are newly licensed techs and some generals, and they're full of questions, which is good. And we're fortunate we're at our clubhouse every Thursday, and we have plenty of opportunity to talk to new techs about antennas and radios and how to get on the air. And we offer them, if you take your exam at our club, you get 6 months free membership. So that gives them an opportunity, once they pass their test, to kind of figure out what ham radio is all about. And one of those topics is EMCOMM and public service events. In Fort Worth, the Fort Worth Marathon is supported highly by amateurs all over the county. It takes about 60, 70 people on Saturday and 90-something on Sunday. So it's a big toll to put that on. But if you look at an event like that, or 4th of July in Arlington, or the Palooza in Mansfield, those events can really be training grounds for new hams to look at EMCOMM, look at it not just as an event, but look at it to develop EMCOMM skills and encourage those people, once they know what it's all about, to participate. Because it can be tough sometimes to pull teeth to get people to participate. We have a wide range of opportunities in the amateur world. We have Aries, we have Races, we have Skywarn, and then you've got NGOs like Red Cross, Baptist Men, Saturn, any number of those types of Salvation Army, I should say, emergency, what is it?
Radio Network.
Radio Network, Saturn, yeah. Are they?
Yeah, Texas on a Mission.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But are they changing nationally? Nationally, it's still Saturn, isn't it?
No, the Baptist Men.
Oh, the Baptist Men.
Texas
Oh,
Baptist
okay,
Men.
yeah.
Texas was
Texas
on mission.
Oh,
More inclusive. Not just men.
figure out how to operate my computer here. There's plenty of opportunities. And how many know the difference between Races and Aries? Okay, sort of? Well, think of, I'll do a high level. Races exist in Texas as two forms. There's state races, and there's local city county races. State races has the primary problem of communicating from Austin to what are called disaster districts. There are 24 of those. Because there's 254 counties in Texas, you can imagine the span of control. So they work primarily to do the DDC to the State Operations Center. But lately, they've been looking at beyond that and trying to incorporate other organizations like Aries and the NGOs. Here in Fort Worth, or Tarrant County, we have Fort Worth Races, which can be part of the city and the county, but all the requests start here and go through this DDC, which is also in, I guess, Irving now, or will be in downtown Fort Worth at the new A&M Systems building in downtown, $7 million building, downtown Fort Worth. So it's kind of fractured and whatnot. Races is a governmental program and is authorized in Section 407 of our Part 97 rules and regulations. Aries covers everything. Aries is open to far more. We have no restrictions. And so what we end up doing, is you remember those hats that had like 3 different bills or whatnot? You just pick, all right, what do you want to see? I'm Aries, I'm Races, or I'm whatever. And that's how we all work it out.
And Aries is run by,
Aries is run by the ARRL, but it's pretty fragmented because we have within it, and I'm going to introduce a gentleman who is our North Texas emergency coordinator, new to the job, and he's going to give us a little intro on his structure. If you look at Part 97, one of the reasons that we have this as sort of a thing to do is that, the first paragraph in the beginning is the purpose and reason for amateur radio. And the key is providing emergency communications, as well as lifelong learning about international goodwill and whatnot. But one of our key reasons to exist, the key reason we have all this spectrum, is supposedly so we can live up to these duties. So where do you find out about events? Well, in Fort Worth, there is the page. And the city of Fort Worth has gone into some convoluted volunteer system that we don't understand and can't. But the entry point is this fortworthraces.org. And in that is a place called How Do I Join? And that's the entry point into all of this. As far as the Aries part, we just go to the North Texas section and sign up. So, or a local amateur radio club, and that's why I think clubs are really key to doing all this stuff. I'm going to talk about a fictitious event. This is called the backwards 10K. Instead of running, you're going to walk backwards. It's also, since this is Fort Worth, we'll have a cow chip throwing contest. just to keep things lively. Okay, here's your briefing. April 1st, 8 a.m. to noon. Okay? Hams are going to use 146.76 repeater, no tone, and 147.56 simplex as an alternate. The cold weather and a chance of rain is in store for us at this event. Meet at Panther Pavilion at not later than 0700 on the 1st of April. All right, that's what you're going to get. That's about the information that'll key you off. What are you going to do with this information? Well, get ready. Let's talk about getting ready. What radio will I use? What antenna? Can I get by with a short one, or do I need a long one? What are the frequencies programmed in my radio already?
is the radio working from when I put it in the box last time?
Yeah. Is my battery functional? Does it charge? Do you have a Go kit? This is my Go kit for 24-hour operations. It hangs ready to go at a moment's notice. And we'll talk more about what's in there. What shall I wear? I said it's cold. May rain. So in addition to my fundamental badges, and I have a Fort Worth Races badge, which requires a background check. But hams shouldn't worry about that because we already said that we're not a convicted felon to keep our license. Here's my PIV, what they call a PIV card, personal identification, whatever. Anybody know?
ID verification.
Verification. I'm registered with TDM as a state volunteer. So this is my go-to registration. I also have my trusty thumb drive with all my other good stuff on it and a few other little goodies. I have my hat with a name badge. I have my official trusty vest, and again with a name tag. And our vendor downstairs can help you with these. So So look at that. So I'm collecting my gear, and in here's a water bottle, some snacks, and some other stuff buried down in the bottom, and hand sanitizer, and just whatever you think. But you need to think about these things ahead of time. What additional things? Well, I got a clipboard. I forgot to bring one of my clipboards. Vest, all that. So I've got all this stuff together. I'm getting ready to go. In my case, I'm going to tell my wife, I'm going to be down here at such and such a time. I anticipate being back. Now, when I've been on a state deployment down in Austin or somewhere, not only do I let somebody know that I'm gone, how long I'm going to be gone, and how I'm going to communicate while I'm out there. Always think safety, no matter what. Safety is the key factor on what we're doing. It's not worth your grief, your family's grief to get into trouble. All right, let's talk about deployment. We want to arrive on time, obviously, and we want to find what's called the COML. It's a short for communications leader, or what we'll hear more and more of these days is an OXCOM leader. These people are the ones that are coordinating communications for this event. In particular, you want to find who is in charge, who is coordinating the amateur radio effort in this area. Report in and wait for a briefing. Good time to check your equipment. I've been on an event, and the repeater that the event was going to be on suddenly croaked. All of a sudden, I'm in the assembly area. We're trying to fumble through and program in a new repeater. Do you have your little manual for that book? Somewhere in here, I've got a manual for my Baofangs or whatever. Make sure that you can take care of your equipment and program it in the field. And I have found lately there's a little Bluetooth device that you can plug in the Baofangs and others, and you can program it from your phone in the field. Very handy. They're like $20. Very handy to have. And, yep, confirm you can program. We're going to receive an incident briefing, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And we're part of what's called the Incident Command System. The Incident Command System was developed initially in California because they have all the fires. Still having that current disaster that's out there, but they came up with an organized system for responding to emergency events. And they borrowed a little from the military and a little from fire stuff and came up with this, and eventually it got adopted by the feds, especially after 9/11. And so everybody really is supposed to follow the incident command system, because if you want to get reimbursed by the feds, you got to show that you followed the procedures, and you got to be able to document in order to get reimbursed. So that's why we follow it, among other reasons. Incident command is a standard reserve. If multiple agencies, like in California right now, we have Texas fire people that are in California. How do you take these out-of-state people or because, well, look at Hurricane Helene in North Carolina. I imagine their Aries and their Races people were devastated because they're the victims. When I was in Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria, all of those hams down there they were victims. You needed outside help to come in. So incident command is a way to do that. You have planned things like parades, Jerry's World contests. Those are planned. Unplanned, we hope ERCOT can hold, and we have power through some of these things. But it's part of a larger program called the National Incident Management System. So public service events like parades and 10K bike runs and
Picklepalooza.
Picklepalooza, to keep, that was one of, those are local events that everybody in the region kind of knows about. But they should be organized as ICS events with the forms and the paperwork. Think about the Boston Marathon bombing in 2013. That's a private event, but with the bombing, it quickly became an incident, a nasty incident. And think of New Orleans in 2025. That idiot runs down Bourbon Street and whatnot. Those seem like innocuous things, but they quickly turn into real events. Our credibility as amateurs grows if we follow these things. I would encourage everyone, if you haven't already, take the introduction, the IC100C, I think is the current one.
That's the current one.
It's free, it's online. Go to FEMA.gov and take that in. You'll get a flavor for how your client or your people are going to operate that you want to be part of. You don't want to show up with 4 Baofangs hanging off your belt and saying, I'm here to be the God's gift of communications. You kind of want to fit in a little bit. Here's where we are. The communications unit, the COML, is way down here in the logistics section. I'm an old Army guy. I figured comms would be in my ops section, but not in this. It's in the communications section is under the logistics because they're the ones that hand out radios.
That's also being looked at on the broader scope of coming up to the same level as logistics.
Yeah, there's some changes that are in the works, and so you may find old timers will stay here, but it may come up to a different level as they realize comms is really important. You got to be able to do something with it. Okay, what operator skills do you think you're going to need? You're going to operate on a directed net. You're going to need to learn some microphone techniques, phonetics, tactical call signs. I keep messing with my own. God bless Mikey's off. ICS forms, at least a couple of them. It's not a forms-driven exercise, but you kind of want to get through there. Program frequencies in your radio. Make coffee. Well, why is that? Be useful, exactly. Thank you, Jim. You want to fit in. You don't want to say, I only do radio. And you're quickly going to find yourself sitting outside in a chair and out of the action because you're not contributing as part of the team. If it takes making coffee, running the printer, changing paper in it or whatever, do whatever you can to support this effort.
If you make coffee, people come looking for you.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
You don't want my coffee.
How do I do that?
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about a directed net. For new hams, directed nets are strange. So what is a directed net? Well, we got a traffic cop called a net control station. He conducts the business of the net and keeps things organized. You kind of have to get permission to speak on the net by giving your call sign or some portion of the call sign, depending on what's the protocol, and be recognized to talk. Very structured. The net control, such as I would get net, this is K5YFO. I may do it phonetic. This is Kilo 5 Yankee Foxtrot Oscar. More on that later. Microphone techniques. You don't want to do this. You want to talk sideways across the mic, or if you got a hand mic, learn those techniques. But obviously, the first thing you should do is listen to make sure that you're not doubling with somebody. You're not talking on top of them. Use an earphone. You're going to get a helicopter or some truck or bus that's going to go by, and you're not going to be able to hear anything out of this crammed up to your ear like this. So you use an earphone with a headset. No Vox. You want push to talk only. Speak slowly and deliberately. Be brief and concise. Don't sit there and talk about, oh, it's this going on. They don't need all the excess verbiage. State the facts and move on. Use plain language. Don't use Q and Z signals if the public's there or somebody's not ready. Don't use 10 codes or any of that type of stuff, because 10 codes are the most diverse things around as far as I could tell. A 10-7 that means something to one department may need something entirely to another department. So use plain language. Let's talk about phonetics. What do we need for phonetics? Use words for letters. Don't use P as in phone, X as in xylophone. Don't be cute and funny, because you're just going to mess things up and force recopying. Instead, use this, the International Telecommunications Union format. Some police departments are still using different ones, but you can always use the ICS. You don't have to retrain pilots. Because that's international. Everybody understands that or comes close to. The same thing with numbers. You had 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, niner. It may sound archaic military, but if you got a lot of noise going on in the background or whatnot, you'd be surprised how those syllables will get punctuated and ease your communications, especially on maybe high HF. It's a little bit easier on all our FM stuff, but be prepared for some other pro signs and signals, pro words. Go ahead, it's like K, over, standby, AS, Roger. I received your last transmission. That doesn't necessarily mean yes. The correct interpretation of Roger is I copied your last. Clear, meaning I'm done with this conversation. Close, meaning we're done. I'm hanging up the phone. So use those ARRL pro signs. Tactical call signs. Okay. Mr. Mike and I in the back, who's running the audio visual stuff, he and I are on a water station. He knows that there's KF5DEY and K5YFO that are on this assignment. Who's on duty? Who's got the mic? Oh, I don't know, but I want to talk to water station 2. So that becomes a tactical call sign, and either call sign can respond. You don't have to remember all the call signs. I want to talk to water station 2. I want to talk to a specific point on there. Those are tactical call signs. Is that legal?
Yes. With your call sign.
Always end with your call sign. But that's new for a lot of people. They've never heard that. They've been told this is your call sign and use it. So 10-minute intervals or at the end of your transmission according to our regulations. Okay, tactical. Here's some examples: net control, triage, priority traffic, over. NCS triage. This is NCS. Triage needs 2 additional nurses in 5 minutes, over. Triage, Roger. Triage needs 2 additional nurses. Will relay to EOC, over. This is triage, clear. K5YFO, for example. The FCC requirements are met. We've communicated what we've been told to communicate, and we've done it legally according to our FCC rules. Let's talk about ICS forms. Anybody know what an ICS 200 is? Piece of paper. The blank sheet of paper. If you're impaired like I am and can't write on a straight line, you need the 200L, which is a big cheap tablet with lines.
Come with that big pencil?
Yeah, the one that you hang over your shoulder, right? I forgot to bring. I found a real big chief tablet that
That's too cool.
that would carry in. Okay, here's our briefing. Let's see how we can get through this. Here, the briefing is going to have a sketch map. Here's the route of the backward 10K. Here's what we're supposed to report with the first element, the last element, and any accidents. Here's our safety brief. Stay at the post, obey all police. Just because you got a shield on that says "COM" and you're part of the event doesn't mean you can override law enforcement. Possible thunderstorms, temperature in the 50s. Gives you a weather update. No known threats. The first time I went to an event, 4th of July event after the Boston bombings, was when we had fire trucks and garbage trucks on the intersection of the turns. And now it's pretty much common practice to have that. But still, be on the lookout. Watch for things. And that would be part of no known threats, but if there are threats, they want to at least have a heads up. And here's kind of the organization chart that's there. With this briefing, then you're now prepared to take one more delve into the ICS world and look at an ICS 205, which is the communications plan for the event. You're not on all of these frequencies, but you need to be aware of them. You might also see a 205A, which is a list of offices, names, and phone numbers, and points of contacts. A 214 is what I filled out in a number of cases. I put the time on, I reported in, I got my safety brief, arrived at station, I handle this type of traffic. It's just a log of what you've done on that. And you turn it in at the end of the event, or if it's a multiple event, you could turn it in at the end of your shift. It's a way to document what you've done. The 213 is a standard message form that you'll see in any of it. This is the most common. And to be able, as hams, to be able to transmit the information in a 213 is very valuable from one EOC to another. And I've either done it as a scanned, they write in there or type in there or whatever. The original 213, and I have one somewhere, was literally, if you remember, an original carbon tissue. So that's where this all goes back to. But to be able, then as hams, I can either take this, I can scan it, or I can fill in block by block because they're numbered and send it block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4, and send it as text. In WinLink, you can do that, and it reconstitutes back into this type of format. So that's a good reason to kind of know WinLink and handle these forms. Now, I carry a cheat sheet for programming my radio. I have my manual, even though it's in Chinglish sometimes. Reprogramming commonly used frequencies in. Go to repeater book and you get everything in the county or whatever, but I always have at the top, there are standard frequencies that the city of Fort Worth uses. From 9.4 repeater, 7.6 repeater, 441.100 with transmit and receive tones sometimes. You have to watch what's there. I have both in there. Pre-programmed, so I don't have to fumble as little as possible, because I fumble a lot. Chirp software at home station is good. It's free. Make a donation. The wireless Bluetooth programmer that I talked about I'm really liking, because I can program not only just Baofangs. This Baofang is so new it's not in Chirp, but it programmed with the Bluetooth, and I could keep a file and download it. Keep a file. Every place you go, I keep some on my little stick here. So practice before the event. Make sure you have everything. Go through your bag, through your Go kit, and make sure you got it. Okay, we finished the event. Well, everything went smoothly. We're going to demobilize on the order of whoever's in charge. Check in with the net control. It says mission accomplished, and he'll say you are released and you may proceed to home station. but that's a checkout. That's a formal process. Safely return to home. Notify, in some cases when I've been at Austin or I've been in Houston on an event, I would notify my lead when I got back to Fort Worth that I've arrived home safely, so he can check me off. Write an after-action report. Even if it's not a formal after-action report, write yourself some notes as to what you forgot, what you might want to take next time, and just be organized in that. Because you're going to go out again. There'll be at least another run next year for any of those events. Here are some good references. Look for something called the Oxfog. These are little handy guides for frequencies that the feds use. You can get it online and download to your phone. There's the ICS 100 course that I talked about. ARRL has a field reference guide that's got it's a little half-page thing that's got just about everything I've talked about in here as a reference if you want to sit down at night and kind of review things. And there used to be some ARRL classes. I don't know where that's at now, but there will be some that are in the process of being updated and renewed as things change in the ICS world and the law enforcement emergency management world. Those will be updated and will give you some of the same things that we've already talked about here. EFOG, EOXFOG is the electronic version. There's also something called the eNIFOG. The Oxfog, by the way, is amateur stuff. The NIFOG is the federal stuff. There is also now a Texas TXFOG that's used in the state that I've seen references to. You can get that downloaded too. Fort Worth RACES, right now we have a renewal class, an introduction and renewal class going on in the end classroom down there. If you're not current or you need a new one, look for these classes. We're fortunate to be able to have the space and offer them here in the Cowtown Hamfest. That's also part of our monthly Skywarn training. Monitor, in Fort Worth's case, we monitor 146.94 plus 600, 110.9. That should be a frequency you should always have. And look at, again, all this information or contact stuff is on fortworthraces.org. So, questions?
What are those apps again?
I'm sorry?
Those apps?
The EFOG, they're in the App Store on your phone. The NIFOG, the Oxfog.
Documents or?
They're documents. I find them handy for frequencies, especially in a formal incident. They will operate on some federal frequencies that are reserved for that incident. You may not transmit on them, but it's very helpful if you're part of the incident to be able to monitor for something like VTAC 11 or VTAC 12, which are VHF frequencies for tactical use, number 11 and number 12. And they have fire, they have law, they have meds, they have all these that are reserved to be used for these functions on this incident.
Can I speak to it real quick?
Yes, sir.
The FOGs are Field Operation Guides, is what it stands for. And just a quick background, I'm a CommT, CommL, OxComm. I work for federal government, but I was a member of Tarrant County RACES, Fort Worth RACES for quite a while. But they basically do your basic overall guidebook to everything related that you might need for radio communications that's already been predetermined. So basically, you're not going to have to go back and recreate what frequencies to use. The frequencies have already been designated. You just have to go in and pick them and put them into the 205, which is the comms plan for the incident, which is where you as a user or support personnel would not be doing that, but the OXCOMs and the COMLs would be doing that.
Yeah.
And then, but it never hurts, like you said, to be familiar with those and know which one of those you can and can't have programmed in your radios. There are some that are very specifically used for law enforcement, which is my side of the house, that you'll never use. There are others that, as long as there's a quote unquote federal component working with you, that kind of throws the door open and opens those channels up to you. How that's defined is up to the incident commander. So, it could be that someone like myself happens to be on scene and says, hey, we're not using these, but feel free. You know? So,
I've been on an incident where VTAC 11 was like the simplex frequency for the incident around, and you could at least monitor and know what was going on and anticipate things. But
And a lot of the ham radio stuff may not be able to, one of the things, the caveat is you may not be able to transmit on some of these. But you should be able to listen at a minimum. But, and that's good to have those at least available as receive only on your radios if they're available. The other thing I was going to say, Swiss cheese.
What?
Can you go back to that slide?
Can I what? Back?
Can you go back to the slide?
That one?
No, the one that has EFOG and
That one?
the OXFOG. Yeah, that one.
Okay. One of the things that I find useful in the NIFOG is there's a section on how to send a text message to a telephone. And it's got every carrier possible on how to address it. Like, I want to send it to my AT&T phone. I address it to my phone number at txt.att.net. And I can send it as a WinLink message. And we did that to a general one time, the adjutant general in a Mars program. And we sent it to his aide, and the general just happened to be an old Signal Corps guy and says, I want that. I like that capability.
There's lots of really handy guides, especially in the NIFOG. In the back, there's handy guides on things you might need when you're in the field. Because you're not just, a lot of times you're not just doing radio stuff, you're doing maybe some data stuff. And I still use it. It's my go-to guide when I'm doing any Cat5.
You know, there's how to do an RJ45 and all this little handy. It's a handy dandy little book to have, even though you may not use some sections of it ever. But it's good to have at least electronic copies. I've kept paper copies in for a while, but I've gone to electronic and whatnot. So yeah.
Is it completely saved on your phone, or is it?
It's on your phone.
It's completely on your phone.
It's completely on the phone.
Okay.
I find it.
I have my paper copy in my go bag.
Yeah, I've had one too, but you know, it's up to, the NIFOG is up to what, 2.0 now? Do you remember?
I don't even know.
I think it's 2.0.
1.1, then I had a 1.2, then I think it jumped to 1.3, then there was nothing for like 8 years.
Then there was I have 1.6 is my latest. And
TTX fog.
I think it's the state interoperability communications.
No, on the Android plate, I checked it, it's TXE fog.
TXE fog, okay. Okay, but it's similar for the state of Texas, they have the same reference information. Okay. Listen, time's running short on this, so I want to give time for our new Aries Section Emergency Coordinator, Mike Nelson, from up in the Denton area. I've been working with those guys up in Denton for a long time, between Gerald Marchand and Eric Gildersleeve. I've been to the Dakar Club several times. It's a great club, and they do a lot of good stuff. But I want to give up some of my time so that Mike can talk about what his vision is in his new job.
Absolutely, thank you.
All right. Well, yeah, like I say, my name is Mike Nelson. K5YX is my call sign. I live in Denton County, in Little Elm. Although the post office thinks I live in Frisco, so we're working around that. But no, I just got appointed Section Emergency Coordinator with Aries Group for the North Texas section today officially. So a new position for me. North Texas section, Texas has 3 ARRL sections. North Texas, South Texas, and West Texas. North Texas is 68 counties, it's a big area. It's divided into 9 divisions. And so I'm still kind of getting a handle on that. I'll be sort of reaching out to all the districts, all the 9 district ECs and introduce myself and talking. But so Aries plays a big part throughout the region. We partner with RACES hand in hand. I'm also in Texas State RACES. I'm the county liaison officer for Denton County for that. I got my hand in CERT. I used to be in Texas Army Mars. So you know, it's good to kind of dabble in a lot, right? Which hat am I wearing? I like that analogy, absolutely. Public service events, absolutely great opportunity to practice directed nets, especially working at directed nets. Whether you're EMCOMM, you end up as a Skywarn net or working, supporting one of the groups like CERT or another group with communications in Denton County. We have a really good Denton County CERT group. Anytime they activate, Denton County Aries activates already as well, just automatically. They're our communicators for CERT. We have a great partnership. So look for the public community events, bike rides, you know, the 10K walks, etc. Use those to test your skills working in a directed net, to check your gear, your radios. Dave mentioned that, right? Making sure you know how to use your radio, use it properly, know the limitations of your radios and your equipment. If you have a Go kit, a radio Go kit, tell them, hey, can you put me at one of the rest stops that's out way far away? That's a great place to set up your Go kit and see if it works. Using directed nets, using the proper radio skills, the proper enunciation, and realizing and good practice on don't start speaking as soon as you hit the push to talk button, right? You quit keying. Anyone who's been net control knows how frustrating that is when all you hear is the 5 and the suffix and miss the prefix. So these public service events really are good opportunities to practice that good technique. I'll start right down here. Checking your equipment, understanding its capabilities. If you're Aries, or if RACES does task books, but if you have task books, these are good events to get some of that stuff checked off.
Where is Aries Task Book 2.0? Is that still?
There's been some updates recently on national level. I have to check and see whether it's been updated, you know, locally or not. But they last year sometime they did some updates to it.
I purposely let that go.
Yeah. So like I say, I don't push task books, but if somebody wants to run one, absolutely, this is an opportunity to get some of those things signed off. Also, the last thing is remember, when we're at these events, yeah, we're ham radio operators, but we're communicators first. It may be that you're not on a ham radio. They may hand you some other radio. You may be on a phone talking to sag wagons, helping to coordinate that. Talk about having other things they may have us do. We've been at events for areas and wound up helping the parking lot, crews, directly tracking the parking lots. Passing out water, exactly. So again, use it to gain experience on your radio skills, absolutely. Directing nets, absolutely. Getting used to your ITU phonetics, but also just opportunities to practice being a helper, right? Be there to help out. But what's our motto, with ham radio, when all else fails? That doesn't always mean having your ham radio. To maybe other communication or other logistical needs. So, like I say, I'll be reaching out to a lot of people in an Aries group. If you're not in Aries or RACES, I encourage you to look it up wherever you live. Look up your local organization. It may be through a club. Get involved with the clubs. Start getting out there. It's very, very useful. Like you say, it helps your skills. You're helping your community, and your club, and your peers. So, Dave, thanks for letting me get up here and speak. Really appreciate it. Hope everyone is enjoying Cowtown.